Hello folks, I'm in Bishop Monckton between Harrogate and Ripon, Knaresborough and Ripon. It's the second ride I've done this year. It's March, middle of March, beautiful day. As I said, second ride. I didn't film the other one. These are just rehab rides. Getting myself back into the saddle after 7 months of, good God, 7 months of stuff. Stop, start. I haven't been able to get out on the road at all on my bike. And 7 months ago, I was rehabbing then, wasn't I, because of my knee injury. So, it's longer than 7 months, really. So anyway, after a hell of a time, I'm doing a series of rehab rides to try and build up my strength and stamina again. I have been doing indoor cycling, but again that's been stop, start. Just as I improve, I've had to stop for a whole number of reasons and then pick up back at square one again. It's been one thing after another. So this is a rehab ride to see where I'm at. I did an easy ride on Wednesday. Today's Saturday. On Wednesday I did one of my Borough Bridge rides, the easiest one. And that was okay, which is good news. My poor bike's been gathering dust over the winter months and the autumn months before that. So I'm taking it easy. And today I'm doing the short circuit from Bishop Monckton, where I started, up towards Fountains Abbey, and then through the Studley Royal grounds, which are part of the Fountains Abbey estate, onto Ripon, and then back on the Way of the Roses route from Ripon back to Bishop Monckton. So quite short, couple of shortish climbs. That's why I've chosen this ride, as a kind of step up from Wednesday's ride. We're heading up to the crossroads with the A61 from Harrogate to Ripon, and we'll be going to the village of Markington. This is the route I've done before, but it's different today because, well, A, it's at a different time of year, and B, as I said, it's a rehab ride to see where I am, where my fitness levels are, and everything else. If you remember, last summer I tore 2 meniscuses in my knee, which was the first thing that put paid to cycling for quite a while. They're not cured, but they're manageable, much more manageable as time goes on, touch wood. So in a way that's good news. That hopefully I don't have knee problems when out cycling now. This is going to seem like a string of woes, but I need to explain to you, if you're a regular viewer and subscriber, just say thank you for bearing with me while I couldn't go cycling or produce any videos over the last 7-ish months, and before that with the knee injury way back to the beginning of summer. We're crossing the old railway line now. One of Dr. Beeching's cuts. It would have been a fantastic and well used railway line from Harrogate to Ripon and beyond to Bedale, with a branch further on to Massam. Maybe the Massam branch wouldn't have been used that much, I don't know, but definitely Ripon and Harrogate. So another issue that has made cycling tricky is probably my age now, because I'm 67. Old injuries coming back to haunt me. Pelvic floor, two unpleasant prolapses. Let's tell you the truth, 2 prolapses, which I'm currently being treated for, which has meant careful buying of a new bike seat and just finding ways to cycle without making them worse. But fingers crossed so far, so good. Got a slight incline here. The test will be on this ride is the 2 mini climbs, really. The climb before you get to Fountains Abbey, up above it, where you get views of Fountains Hall and the Fountains Abbey Tower. And then after that, the climb up to the obelisk. And after that, it's easy going. Right, so we go straight ahead here across the A61. They've reduced the speed limit on that section of road too, but I can't really tell the difference. Yes, I've got those 2, got the knee and the other things going on then. Then my mum, who, as you may know from previous cycle videos, who's in a care home with dementia. She began to get very poorly and she was in and out of hospital like a yo-yo. And so that put paid to a lot of things, really, as you can imagine. God. Taking it turns with my sister to be with Mum in the hospital and at the care home. But the good news was that in September we received an offer on Mum's flat that had been on the market for about 15 months. And everything went smoothly with the conveyancing until the 11th hour, or even after the 11th hour, almost 1 minute to midnight, exchanging contracts, when the buyer had to pull out. And it wasn't strictly their fault. I won't explain why, no point, but it meant that the sale fell through and we were back to square one with that, and we still are, as it's heading towards 2 years since Mum moved out. So, extra stress there. Then in January, Mum became very, very ill indeed, and my sister and me were basically in constant vigil at her bedside in the care home, expecting her to pass away any moment, but she just hung on and on and on, and it got worse and worse and more distressing, until on the 8th of February she did pass away. She passed away peacefully. She was unconscious, been unconscious for about 3 days, and she literally just a case of her heart just stopping. Completely peaceful, absolutely peaceful. And the medical staff that came in every day, the district nurses, were brilliant with palliative medication, morphine and stuff. Really good. So that was very, very sad, and I've put a video of my mum's life, which is the version of what we showed on the screen at her funeral. That's on my list of videos if you want to take a look at my mum's amazing life. She was nearly 99 when she died. But of course, following a death, then you've got everything to sort out. Probate and all the other bits and pieces. And the flat is still unsold. So in December, January, February, I did virtually no exercise because of all this. But then with the help of my cycle coach, I picked up again with the indoor bike. And now I'm just testing the water with some outdoor rides. So that's where we are. But what a 7 or 8, 9, 10, God knows how long months it's been. A little incline here before heading down to Markington, and I imagine the section by the stream before you get into the village is probably quite beautiful at this time of year, well, any time of year. It's the first time for years that I haven't done any winter cycling. So I've still got the summer tyres on from last year. But winter cycling is cold. There is a cold breeze today, as you'd expect, mid-March. Oh, lovely, you can't smell it obviously, but lovely farm smells. I don't know, it just is a sort of smell that makes you think I'm in the countryside again. Thank goodness. Sort of silage smell. That sweet smell of silage. Just round the corner ahead is the lovely section down by the stream. Oh, I can smell wild garlic. You can always smell wild garlic here, crossing the stream. As it's coming back into season, you just get wild garlic. Beautiful and pretty little stream. This is Markington Hall coming up. I mentioned that the last time I did this ride, and I can't remember, it was so long ago, what the story is. So it's got a link to something and I can't remember what it is. I shall have to look it up. So we turn right here, just go through the village before turning right again before the church. It's got a little post office and general stores and a pub and a campsite. So that's Markington Hall on the right. Can't really see it because of the wall. These daffodils are beautiful, and the blossom is starting to come out as well. I remember the blossom from April last year when I went to Devon and with my bike and did the Tarka Trail several times, made videos which you can check out on my playlists I've got a specific dedicated playlist to the Devon rides. As well as a general playlist, not playlists. That's religious. We turn right up here. Caravan park, campsite. Fountains Abbey, 2.5. I've cycled through the grounds of Fountains Abbey on several of my videos. Here we are crossing that little stream. We've got a little climb past the church. Fountains Abbey itself is owned by the National Trust, and obviously you can't cycle through the section of the grounds where you have to pay to go in, and that includes the actual Fountains Abbey itself. But you can cycle through Studley Royal on what is part of the Way of the Roses cycle route, which we have done several times. We join the Way of the Roses cycle route at the T-junction a bit further on. The Way of the Roses cycle route goes from Morecambe on the Lancashire coast to Bridlington on the East Yorkshire coast. And we will be following it in an easterly direction when we get to it. We've got a slight incline here. I can still feel my bad knee, but what is the side of my knee, outside of my knee. I think it's just a case of managing it and taking inflammatory painkillers like ibuprofen if necessary, and doing leg strengthening exercises, which I've tried to do when I can. As the consultant said, a bit of pain while you're cycling is okay, a lot of pain is not okay. So this is just a tiny hint that what is not right with my knee, something I've really become used to. Sometimes it locks at night too into a bent position, which is a bit annoying. Takes a bit of manoeuvring to get it straight again. I think it's my age. I'm getting old and decrepit, and I don't like that. It's lovely to see stuff growing again. I mean, another reason I wouldn't have been able to get out cycling because of the awful weather that we've had. All that rain and wind. But in a way, winter just passed me by because I was just so preoccupied with my mum. Oh, giant frogs. Enormous frogs. I think it's meant to be toads, actually. I haven't seen any toads or frogs on this road at all. I saw a rat once, and that's all really. Pothole. The sky is beautiful. Blue. And my son's heading for Wales today. Spend a week in a cosy cottage by a river, overlooking a river, with his girlfriend. So I hope the weather stays nice. This is the junction where we turn right, where we join the Way of the Roses route eastwards. Go that way, you end up in Morecambe, that way you end up in Bridlington. But if you go that way, you've got to go through the Yorkshire Dales and some serious hills. And we stay on this Way of the Roses cycle route all the way back to Bishop Monckton. So if you do the Way of the Roses coast to coast cycle route, you will come up here. And most people seem to do it from west to east. Something to do with the prevailing wind. So this is the first mini climb. Hopefully muscle memory kicks in, if there's any memory left after all those months. So far so good. The steepest bit is from the bottom entrance to Fountains Abbey up to the obelisk, or near the obelisk. As I said though, I have tried as much as possible to keep the indoor cycling going, to at least get some exercise, and also leg strengthening exercises for my knee and the muscles. So I haven't just been sitting around doing nothing for all these months. I have actually been very busy. Got involved with a lot of community groups, started a bit of volunteering at a community cafe once a week, and yeah, got a whole loads of new friends. And I'm going for supper at a friend's house tomorrow after a craft session. A new friend. So I have used the time off my road bike. I have used the time off my road bike usefully. I've also been doing craft fairs, picking up where I left off with sewing and knitting things to sell, doing my 4th craft fair on Sunday. No, not this Sunday, next Saturday. So I've been doing loads of stuff. And the only thing I haven't been doing, and I haven't done anything about it at all, and that is playing the recorder. I've just not felt like it. I just haven't. I stopped the lessons just before Christmas, and I was just finding it too much, really. So that's gone into pending drawer at the moment. Not sure what will happen there. Right, so we did that mini climb okay. And soon we'll be able to see over the valley towards the tower of Fountains Abbey Church and Fountains Hall, Jacobean mansion on the estate, which was built with some of the stones from the abbey after it was dissolved by Henry VIII back in the 16th century. Straight ahead, you probably can't see it on the camera because of the way it's kind of fisheye view or whatever, but no, it's not. Is it fisheye? Yes. It's the top of the Abbey Church, poking out of the valley. It's a very tall tower, very tall tower. Said that twice. It was the last thing to be built before the Abbey was dissolved, which may be why it's in quite good condition. This is always here. Seems to be a permanent fixture. So what we can see, or we could see, the top. There we are, the top of the Abbey Church. Behind it is the spire to the right on the horizon. The spire. For Studley Royal Church, which was designed by William Burgess in the 19th century. William Burgess of Cardiff Castle fame. Ahead there we can see Fountains Hall. Get a beautiful view. You get a better view at this time of year because the trees are not in leaf. So do take a look if you come along this way, because you do get a beautiful view. Unfortunately, that and the old part of the old Abbey wall along here is all we get to see of the actual Fountains Abbey, because as I said, the cycle route does not take you through the actual Fountains Abbey grounds, because that is, you have to pay to get in there and bikes are not allowed. You really can get a good view of the Abbey Church over there. So we'll be heading right down the hill, past the lower car park for the Abbey, past the little cottages that I think you can rent, the holiday cottages. Oh, lovely view there of Fountains Hall, and oh, quite a big view. Maybe we'll stop. Let's stop. So there, don't know if you can see it, we get Fountains Hall. So do stop here and take a look. You get a beautiful view of both, though when that tree comes out in leaf and the trees down there, the Abbey might be a bit obscured. So perfect time of year to see it now. This is part of the old abbey wall, which is probably medieval. So we are about to go. Oh, we get a lovely view of Fountains Hall there. And these are the little cottages. The river. And the lower entrance. Right, so we will climb up now towards the obelisk. I can't remember what the obelisk is for. Was for. The first part of this climb is relatively okay. It's when it goes around the bend. It gets quite steep for a short section. So it'll be a good test. Hello. Right, well done me. A nice little tick against that test. We are turning right here. Oh yeah, another issue I've had is carpal tunnel syndrome. On to my second set of steroid injections into my wrist, which will give me some respite for a couple of months. Going to see a hand specialist about that. I'm falling apart. All these issues are all because of age. So frustrating. And if you're watching this video and you're my age, you're in your 60s or thereabouts, you'll know what I mean about how frustrating it is. I get a sense of panic, use it or lose it sense of panic. I see people my age or 10 years older or whatever hobbling around using walking frames and stuff, and you think, please no, never, please no. And the electric bikes, e-bikes, the proper kinds, I mean, not the ones that food delivery people whiz around on. I don't want to alienate those of my followers who have e-bikes. One day I may get to the stage where I need an e-bike too, in order to be able to carry on enjoying my cycle rides, so I won't comment. We are heading to the obelisk, where we go through the gates, electric gates, into the Fountains Abbey estate, well, Studley Royal. Because you've got Studley Royal and Fountains Abbey, which are kind of one and the same. Well, Fountains Abbey is within the Studley Royal, the larger Studley Royal estate. You can see the obelisk straight ahead. In one of my cycle rides around here, one of my videos, I cycled up to the site of what would have been Studley Royal Hall, which burnt down. I think it was during the war or just after the war. All that remains now are these, it's a quite elaborate and quite large stable block, now private apartments. So I won't cycle up there today because this is just a test rehab ride. So far, so very, very good. We are. So that is Studley Royal Church, designed by William Burgess of Cardiff Castle. And inside it's been restored and beautifully decorated in the way it would have been. And the chorister's house there, which you can rent for your holidays. There's also William Burgess. It has that look about it. That timber effect appears in Castle Cock in Wales. Also, of course, William Burgess. So I'll just stop here to remind you from previous videos. Right ahead in the distance is Ripon Cathedral. It's a bit hazy today. You can't see it very well at all, but and right behind is the Studley Royal Church. They were aligned on purpose. So you look one way, you see Ripon Cathedral, one way you see Studley Royal Church. Over on our left is that's a stable block on the left. From Studley Royal Hall would have been just behind that or to the right of that. To the right over there we've got the entrance to the Studley Royal Water Gardens, which takes you through to Fountains Abbey. You have to pay on entry. Now, in an ideal world, you just cycle straight on and into Ripon and arrive bang in front of the cathedral, but it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. You have to go around turn left at the bottom and onto the main road into Ripon. And check out my other videos of Ripon for visits to the Little Leper Chapel and find out why the Dean of Ripon Cathedral stole their bell. That's in another video. And I also take my bike around the grounds of Ripon Cathedral in another video. Another video I visit the site, and it's still there, the old Ripon railway station, now apartments. But one place I haven't been yet, and I will do on a future cycle ride video, and that is Ripon has an old workhouse. It's a workhouse museum. No, I didn't know about that until quite recently. So I'll check that out on a future ride. It's quite chilly today, you know. It is getting cold. So we go through this rather impressive arch, and shortly after we have to turn left because it's private land straight on. But everything is quite easy going from here. Hi. Cattle grids. And I think there's one more cattle grid down here. It looks like it can go straight on, but you can't, unfortunately. We're cycling on up to the T-junction with the main road into Ripon. Bit of a mini incline up to the main road. Daffodils. Beautiful. Strange, this little shrine, Christ on the cross. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe a war memorial? Don't know. Tell you what, let's go and have a look. It is. It's up some steps, so. Skirting the marketplace, which is on the left. We go right here. Cathedral is up on our left up the hill. Over a little river. I think that's the River Skell, the one that runs through Fountains Abbey, if I'm not mistaken. Before the A61 was built, well, before it was built where it is now, this would have been a continuous lane all the way to Littlethorpe. But now it isn't. And we will have to cross the main road. So this is a continuation of what would have been that lane. Coming into Littlethorpe, which used to have its own railway station and a level crossing. Last time I was here, I think they were building on the old railway track that had been left a bit derelict. Obviously the track bed had been pulled up, but its location yeah, they have built houses here. This was all derelict last time I was here. The railway line came in there. and along there, and along here. And the level, well, the station would have been about here. I think where that corner is, I think. Level crossing would have been about here, and the railway line went up there then. So that's the level crossing we've just crossed, or sight of. We go under the old railway a couple more times. It would have been ideal commuting to Harrogate and Leeds. We turn right. Three miles back to Bishop Monckton. Hi there. Hello.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm really, really, really hoping to get down to the southwest again, medical complaints permitting and also petrol permitting, because we're right in the middle of that American war, which is putting up fuel prices. Oh, don't do that. I jump about dogs when I'm cycling after having been bitten that time. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah, fuel availability and cost permitting. Hello. We're swinging round towards the old railway line again, which ran along there, where the trees are. There's loads of bits of the countryside still flooded after all the rain we had. I noticed that on my ride on Wednesday. Oh, imagine if that railway line was still open. It was a main line too. It had mainline locomotives. It wasn't just a little branch line. Tremendous amounts of work went into building it, I imagine, and the quality of these bridges are amazing. Beautiful stone. Same can't be said for the road surface, which is appalling. Look at the stonework. But dear Dr. Beeching said, no, we don't need that. The road is the future. Road transport, cars. He was, of course, biased because he had a vested interest in road transport, as I understand it. I'd like to put him in the traffic jam I sat in all the way through Harrogate today, heading towards the We're heading out into and out of Harrogate on the A61. We go left here at the T-junction. We go under another of those beautiful bridges just along here. I like to think that Dr. Beeching, destroyer of so many vital railways like this one, is currently sat in a never-ending traffic jam in heaven, hell, whatever it is, if there is such a place. I like to think that he is. He needs to get somewhere really urgently, but he can't because he's in a never-ending traffic jam. That would be really good. One can but imagine and dream. Bishop Monckton, where we started, is in sight. So, time to have a conclusion on how this ride has panned out as a rehab ride. Second only road ride for 7-8 months. And then I was rehabbing with my knee, and before that I was off again because of my knee. So, yeah, I say good, onwards and upwards. I have felt it in my knee, and I might suffer a bit later, but got plenty of ibuprofen. Other issues, yep, that's been okay. All good. Carpal tunnel's okay at the moment, not going numb because I had that steroid injection last week. They last about 2 months before it comes back. What else? Parts of me that are falling apart. Well, I think that's it, actually, for the time being. So, yeah, good, all good. And a success. Have a few days off and then plan where I go next to slightly increase things a bit. Not necessarily distance, more climbs. But I'll see what my cycle coach has to say, and it all depends on the weather. So this ride, my Garmin says 1 hour 40 minutes. 13 3/4 miles, which is half what I hate looking at that, because I used to do well over double that. But let's not forget, I'm still in rehab for the medical conditions and having been off the road in general. So yeah, thanks for watching and listening to all my moans, and I'll catch up with you next time. Please subscribe and like as well, would appreciate that, thank you.